Charlie Smith, Jong Benji, Georgia Strait. I'm the editor of the Georgia Strait newspaper, and I'm happy to be here for another week of WOW TV. And today I'm going to start with a story about BC Ferries. And BC Ferries is a government-owned ferry corporation, and it transports people and goods to Vancouver Island, to the Gulf Islands, and up the Sunshine Coast. And BC Ferries has had some difficulties in recent years, partly because of costs. And on April 1st, what happened was BC Ferries increased its fares by 4.1%. And the fares have been going up quite a lot in recent years. And as a result, the traffic has been dropping. So what they noticed in April of 2013 was the passenger traffic to the Gulf Islands was off 20% from April 2012. So the fares go up 4.1%, the traffic drops 20%. There was also a significant drop from Tawasin to Schwartz Bay, which is the main BC ferry run, which makes money. And so BC Ferries has fallen on hard times, and it also comes in the wake of a trial of a former navigation officer in connection with the sinking of the Queen of the North in 2006. Part of the problem with BC Ferries financially goes back several years to when the NDP was in power. And I remember in 1994 I did a story. It was the first story that was serious, kind of extensive story on a plan to do fast ferries. And they wanted to do the types of ferries that you see in Macau, Australia, and places like that, where these aluminum-hulled craft which travel quickly through the water. Well, they weren't actually appropriate for the waters of Georgia Strait. And so they built these three ferries. They originally said it would be $210 million, and they ended up costing $460 million. And then they didn't function very well. The BC Liberals came in and they sold them for $18 million. So boats that cost $460 million were sold for $18 million. And BC Ferries has never really recovered from that time. But since then, when Gordon Campbell was premier, he appointed a man named David Hahn as the CEO. He was paid a whopping salary, tried to turn it more into a corporate entity, and they made some changes on the ferries. It's actually a little more luxurious, but that's also resulted in higher costs. So now we're seeing the traffic is dropping, and this is going to be one of the big challenges facing the BC Liberal government. And a story we have in the paper this week, municipally at Vancouver City Hall, concerns the reemergence of an old political party called TEAM, the Electors Action Movement, which was created by Art Phillips and an old councillor called Walter Hardwick in the late 1960s. And Art Phillips became mayor of the city for 2 terms in the 1970s. And he was a very popular mayor who died earlier this year. And he's famous for bringing forward modern planning processes, the development of the south shore of False Creek, the Granville Mall, all sorts of initiatives took place when he was mayor. So when he died, there was a lot of nostalgia about Art Phillips, and he was married to the former finance minister, Carol Taylor. So some of the people who supported the way he kind of operated and ran the city say that we need to revive this political party called TEAM, which is kind of a centrist, not too conservative, but not too left-wing. And so some of the people who are involved are Bill McCreary, who was a TEAM park commissioner in the 1970s, and he ran for the NPA. Another person is Dave Payson, who ran for the NPA in the last municipal election. And another one is Jonathan Baker, who was a former city councillor, former cultural planner at the city of Vancouver, and he ran for mayor in 1996. So they've got people with some political experience, and they're trying to set up a political party that can take on Gregor Robertson and Vision Vancouver. Vision Vancouver has been very, very strong in the last 2 municipal elections. In the last election, Gregor Robertson kind of attracted 77,000 votes, which was the second most votes for anyone ever running for mayor. And Vision Vancouver controls the Vancouver Park Board, City Council, and the school board. So it's going to be a big challenge for TEAM, because there's also the NPA, which is the right of center party, and they have 2 members on Vancouver City Council as well. So municipal politics got a little bit more interesting this week, and we'll see where things go. Another thing that happened up at City Hall this week was a discussion about the rezoning of Oak Ridge Shopping Centre. And this is one of the biggest rezonings that's happening in the city. And the council didn't vote on a staff recommendation to refer it to a public hearing, but I expect that will happen soon enough. The 2 companies involved, one is Ivanhoe Cambridge, which is the landowner and owns the Oak Ridge Shopping Centre, and the other is Westbank, which is a major developer. What they're hoping to do is build up to 2.7 million square feet of residential development at Oak Ridge. And the development calls for a high street going through the area, a new community center, an expanded library. And what they're going to do with the shopping mall is the plan calls for a public area that would be very large on the roof of the shopping mall. And this hasn't been done in Vancouver before. And there would be Tai Chi pavilions. There might be a jogging track. There might be children's play areas. And then anyone who lives in the condos that are built around the shopping center could have access to that rooftop for the recreational area. So this is going to be controversial. There's going to be a lot of people speaking at the public hearing. It's not going to unfold in the next week or 2, but it's something to watch, and it's right along the Canada line, which is obviously one of the major transit corridors in the city. So that may make this project more appealing because it's on rapid transit. Traditionally, what's happening is the real estate developments close to rapid transit seem to be doing better in terms of sales. And it's an indication that people want to live near rapid transit. And another story that I did this week concerned the Chinatown night market. And this is something that's been taking place in Vancouver for many, many years. This is the 18th year where they have a night market in Chinatown in Vancouver. This is in the 100 block of Kiefer Street. And it takes place, the opening night is Saturday night, June 1st. But it actually takes place every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m., all the way through to September 8th. And it's a way to breathe some life into Chinatown at night. A lot of people go to Chinatown during the day, but now you can go at night. And what's fun about this story is they have a program director, a young filmmaker named Ken Choi, and Ken has brought in a lot of entertainment and arts and culture. So he's going to be doing things like on Saturday night, he's going to be showing Iron Monkey, which is a very famous kung fu movie. And he'll show it on the side of a building. And then at another time, they're going to show pictures of Fred Herzog's famous photos of Chinatown. And these were pictures taken in the 1950s and the 1960s. So they'll be projected on a screen. There's also gardening workshops. There's free ping pong. The members of the UBC Mahjong Club are going to come down to Chinatown, to the Chinatown night market, and teach people how to play Mahjong. Because particularly a lot of Canadian-born people don't know how to play Mahjong. And personally, I'm looking forward to going down there and learning. There's also going to be storytelling, the Rain City Chronicles. So Ken is a very creative young man, 27 years old. And he has a lot of ideas, and he's working with Tanis Ling, who's the owner of the Bao Bei Chinese Brasserie, which is also in the 100 block of Kiefer. And it's a reflection of what's happening in Chinatown and Vancouver, that it's becoming more cosmopolitan. And what I love about this story is Ken's parents actually met in Chinatown. His father was from Hong Kong. His mother was from Guangdong. They didn't know each other, in China or Hong Kong, but they met in Chinatown. They got married. Ken is Canadian-born, spent some of his time growing up in Richmond, and now he's come back to Chinatown, and he's trying to put on what is basically a big summer festival. And I'd encourage any of the viewers to take one of the Saturdays, Fridays, or Sundays over the summer and check out the Chinatown night market.